Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be one of those videos that I have been requesting an update for quite a long while, and I actually didn't realize how long it has been since I had updated this list. Only when I went through the champions that are missing on this sheet, turned out it has been about 9 months or so. So anyways, the point is, it's kind of like a generic guide of Liquid Courage Double Edge compatibility sheet. Basically, which champions handle Recoil, Masteries, Liquid Courage Double Edge the best. And we have basically grouped them up by classes, and we have champions that are significantly better. Condition for this has to be the main point that you actually can perform better with the champion with Liquid Courage Double Edge than without. For instance, in Visible Woman's case, you get permanent healing throughout the fight. With Joe Fixit, again, because his healing is based on amount of damage you deal, it's much easier to heal up with Joe Fixit in kind of like medium to long level fights, and then everything else kind of like gets improved. With Mole Man, you just get a faster ramp up, faster fight start. It doesn't really hinder you at all. Karnak is just, you know, healing throughout, and that's basically going to be the story for all of the champions that are in the top category that actually get better. And then we have a close second category where we have increased damage with hardly any downside. This is going to be typically, you know, double immune champions that do not necessarily need to spam special attacks like every 3 seconds, or champions that do have a single immunity but have some sort of way to offset the Liquid Courage Double Edge or shrug them off quickly. In case of like Quake, for instance, the damage boost is so significant, and the fact that you never use Liquid Courage Double Edge, sorry, the fact that you never use special attacks, you know, you will take some damage, but the benefit is really noticeable with Quake, especially with maybe half Liquid Courage Double Edge setup. Similar with Thing, where you can just, you know, put on the protection and you can use that to heal at times as well, and Thing handles it quite well. Not perfect, there are downsides, there are compromises, but in general you do have increase in damage with little downside. And then we have handle quite well, which means that, you know, you can bring these champions in the quest. You can probably do like 3-4 fights with them. They'll do the job. You might not necessarily want to use these champions as like your main questing champion. Here I did downgrade She-Hulk, for instance, slightly. I used how She-Hulk slightly higher. I might put her back up, but we can see champions like Spot. The reason Spot is up here is because, you know, in most cases you're going to finish a fight with like a single level 2 or 2 of them. Titania can go indestructible, so she can offset that damage, and she can also eat up recoil damage if need be, and so on and so forth. Usable, not preferred, basically means the champions you can bring in a quest. You can do your 2-3 fights with them if need be for like specific encounters, but in longer fights you will struggle, and you'll struggle to do like the entire parts with them. I actually want to move Tigra up, because Tigra also has the same argument as Spot, where you drop 1-2 level 2s and the fight's pretty much over. But yeah, for most part, here we have the cases where, you know, you will be able to use these champions if you bring it in Act 8 and you need to do 2 or 3 fights. Sure, that's doable. Or you sub this champion in for like a boss fight. Why not? And now we have barely usable category where the champions just do not handle it at all. Like we have Wong, for instance, and in long form, I will agree that Wong is very good with Liquid Courage Double Edge, but that is quite literally only in like long form content, like Labyrinth and Abyss. And every other content, Wong does not handle Liquid Courage Double Edge at all, because he does need to spam a ton of special attacks before he gets ramped up, before he starts healing. Similar with like Sorcerer Supreme, Symbiote Supreme, America Chavez, all of these champions are based on like spamming special attacks, which obviously immediately just kind of eats away at your health. We have Professor X, for instance. You know, Professor X is one of the least Liquid Courage Double Edge friendly champions in the game. Same as Carnage or Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, so on and so forth. I put Gore in here, but I put Star next to him because it is actually quite possible to play Gore with Liquid Courage Double Edge in relatively simple conditions. In fights where you can maintain to be aggressive, you can use Gore very well with Liquid Courage Double Edge. In short to medium fights, it will not work well, and you will lose a lot of health because of it. In longer fights, sure. Like, you can do an entire Realm of Legends run through with Gore running Liquid Courage Double Edge, but that's because you never need to worry about baiting out special attacks. You're not afraid to hit level 3, and the fights are quite a bit longer, so on and so forth. And the similar case here we have is Scorpion. Actually, how meant to add the star next to the name of Scorpion, because in Battlegrounds and Alliance War specifically, Scorpion's actually in the increased damage with hardly any downside or significantly better category, and that is the star in his name, because it all depends on whether opponent does have regen or not. And we all know that pretty much every match in Battlegrounds and every match in Alliance War, you will have opponents with willpower, in which case Scorpion is amazing with Liquid Courage Double Edge, because, well, you can start the fight poison immune if you choose the Shock or Rupture pre-fight, and then when you drop a level 2, you will just be siphoning opponent's health, which is quite awesome. Other than that, we obviously do have the standard kind of disclaimers here, plus if you use Nick Fury plus Deadpool, everyone moves 1 tier up unless they were already double immune, because that has been like one of the classic synergy setups there, where you can, you know, easily use Cull Obsidian to do an entire path in a quest if you have Nick Fury and Deadpool synergy, because you get rid of one of the damage over time effects, so you're only left with 1 or 0 if you had 1 immunity, and you get like 10% regen every fight. And with the bonus of Liquid Courage Double Edge, you know, you basically offset the recoil damage there, so you can use almost any champion with that setup to a reasonable degree of success. Then we have mutants, obviously have their tricks up their sleeve, like Horseman or Professor X synergy with Colossus and Wolverine. I believe everyone can move from 1 to 4 tiers up. Mutants and Cosmics now, to be honest, are like, but especially mutants, have the potential to make any champion incredibly Liquid Courage Double Edge friendly, which is one of the base points of why they are so awesome for so many Abyss runs as well. Because if you do bring in Apocalypse, Professor X, and like Colossus, then you can make any other mutant to be incredibly Liquid Courage Double Edge friendly and heal a ton throughout the entire quest. So that is definitely worth noting out, that, you know, obviously Horseman pre-fight with Apocalypse gives any mutant 100% bleed resistance, so you end up healing at the beginning of every fight. And Professor X synergy with Colossus or Wolverine can make any mutant up to 72% poison resistant, I believe, which again lets them heal throughout the entire fight. Then we have War Machine, obviously, which can move everybody just about a tier up if you have the pre-fights. In tech class, it isn't as dominant needed, because well, tech class kind of excels with having those immunities. That's why there are so many champions up in the first 3 tiers as is. But you can make any of these champions basically shrug off the starting debuffs, and then in that case, obviously, like Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord and Punisher 2099 or Spider-Man 2099, it's significantly better if you do use War Machine's pre-fights on them. And the last one, that's the newest one, is Gallant's pre-fight, where you basically let everybody move a couple tiers up, where, again, even like stuff like Silver Surfer and Red Goblin and Cersei. In Carnage's case, I don't think that healing is enough, but in most of these cases, you can definitely make these champions very, very compatible with Liquid Courage Double Edge. There's a very good reason why whenever we do incursions runs, we try to put on the Gallant's pre-fights on Herc especially to kind of like supercharge his healing. But it works with a ton of different champions here in Cosmic class, where even Thor, or kind of like medium to long fights, with having 0 compatibility with a Liquid Courage Double Edge on his base, can turn into like an absolute monster with healing. And that's just about it. So I will leave a link to this spreadsheet in the video description. You guys can check it out for yourselves. Let me know your suggestions on some champion movements. There might be few changes that I need to make to this sheet, because I had quite a lot of updating to do before uploading this video, because again, as I said, it has been like about 9 months since I last updated this sheet. Yeah, I know, it's my fault. But what I'm trying to say is I'm fully open to suggestions on moving some characters up or down based on, you know, your own personal experience and discussions. I'm sure that, you know, there will be some opinions that I disagree with as well, but still, you are all more than welcome to share them. So again, I will share this in the video description if you want to check it out yourselves. But meanwhile, just hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons, and I will catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about